Hey guys, we're Legend 95, recording live from your local county prison cell. First of all, sorry about my voice. and second of all, I'd like to actually go over a little bit of backstory for this. So this fight originated as something I know, like, I saw a lot of Organization XIII versus Akatsuki, like group fight requests, and that sounded awesome, but I kind of knew that that couldn't happen because members of the Akatsuki had been in other requests and things, like Itachi had been in, the Sesshomaru one, and Kisame had been in our long one. This was years ago, by the way. So I kind of like looked back and forth, and I was like, how would I do this? Like, this you couldn't do this fight because, like, it would take like hours and hours to analyze. And then for some reason, I just let it go. And then for some reason, like a couple months ago, I've been holding on to this fight for a few months, actually. But for some reason, a couple months ago, I finally put it together. I was like, wait a minute. Why not just put their leaders against, like the founders against each other? So that's where I came up with the idea of Pain versus Xemnas. Or Xemnas. Sorry, I'm never going to get that right. Now, some people will be like, why not Xenohort? Some people will be like, yeah. But I don't know. I feel like Xemnas is the right way to go for this. So I'm not going to go into either of these characters' backstories because, well, they're long and intricate and complicated, and I don't feel like supplying context for everything. Secondly, one of them is from Kingdom Hearts. So, I don't know if it's possible to explain, like, the lore to half of it. So, I'm just gonna, kind of glaze over everything, and we'll make do with what we can. So, Pain, as I said, founder and leader of the Akatsuki, by far the most powerful member of the Akatsuki, was originally one of the students orphaned from war that Jiraiya trained, and he later came into. No, I said I wasn't going to go over backstory. I said I'm not going to go into like detail. So he has the Rinnegan. That's essentially the basis of his power, right? That's that's what he's all about. So the Rinnegan allows him to utilize basically the six paths technique, which is I don't remember all of them exactly by name, but this gives him six different bodies by which it doesn't give him six different bodies, but it gives him control over six different bodies and allows him to utilize six different abilities, one for each body. Also, these bodies will share each other's line of sight. So they'll all have six lines of sight. So whatever one of them sees, they all can see. So that makes fighting them all 6-on-1 pretty much impossible. And that also makes it very hard to, take them out one at a time in close combat, because if one of them sees you, they can all see you. So sneaking up on one of them is only doable if none of them are able to see you. So he has a path that allows him to read minds and take, reap souls from people. He has a path that can drain chakra and absorb chakra from individuals and from, actual ninjutsu itself. He's got the path that allows him to, mechanically augment his body to, make swords and armor and stuff come out of him. He's got the path that allows him to control animals. He's got the path that allows him... How many is that? 1, 2, 3... Okay. He's got the path that allows him to summon the King of Hell, which sounds really awesome and, like, unstoppable, but it's actually just interrogation. It's just a lie detector test. And then he's got the path that allows him to Not, it says gives him control over life and death, but that's a little more vague than it is. It allows him to resurrect corpses, and it gives him control over the corpses. So it basically lets him control, the dead and resurrect their chakra and all of that. So that sounds, and essentially that's the most protected one, because any of the other ones that are killed, he can just resurrect them with that one. Because all of these paths are controlled by him, his actual body, by Pain or Nagato. I think it's Nagato. I'm sorry, I haven't actually gone back and watched the episodes of Naruto to do this. I'm just going off memory here. I think there was a lot of people introduced at the end there. Yeah, his body is essentially useless. He's just held up somewhere, and then he just controls all of these guys, essentially psychically. So that makes him that makes Pain himself Pain's an alias, but whatever. I'm just gonna refer to him as Pain. That makes Pain himself like pretty much unkillable. Like that's why it makes him so hard to deal with, because not only do you have to fight 6-on-1, not only do you have to fight them one at a time, exclusively without aid from the other 5, but the last one can resurrect the other ones. So it's like, it makes it. And then he's also got, oh yeah, and then I think I forgot, he also has the, some techniques of himself. He has the almighty pull and push, which just gives him, essentially, it's manipulation of, they refer to it as manipulation of attracting and repelling forces. That makes it sound like a shockwave or something. It's not really, it's not something that can be resisted or, like, pushed against. It's basically manipulation of space. He's able to make you farther away from him than you are, or make you closer to him than you are. That's really it, and it's kind of absurd, but yeah. So, and then there's the path to planetary devastation, which is a giant. It's essentially a black hole, but as its own body. It's not a hole in space. It's it's an object. It's a body of presumably intensified gravity that sucks in everything around it, which does as its name suggests, it doesn't falsely advertise. It devastates the planet. Though it can be broken by, a powerful attack aimed directly at its core. So, with all of that going for him, Pain's, an incredibly powerful individual. That's why he's able to lead the Akatsuki. Similar things can be said for his opponent, Xemnas. Now, I'm not even gonna, other than the fact that he's Zero Heartless, I'm not going to go into this backstory at all. So, Xemnas wields he is a Heartless, and he wields the power of nothingness, which is not descript at all. It is incredibly vague. He even wielded the power of light and dark at one point, which again didn't give him any specific abilities. It just kind of gave him abilities. So, yeah. So instead of defining the power of nothingness and the power of light and darkness as elements, I'm going to just say what he can actually do. He has, in the context of being in a Kingdom Hearts character, he has superhuman strength, speed, durability, stamina, etc. Everyone in Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy has that. He has more so than most. Okay? He's able to create, stationary lasers from the palms of his hands called ethereal blades. Despite their name, they are not actually bladed or sharp or pointed in any way. And they also don't seem to have any heat or radiation, despite looking like lasers. So, they're really more like just kinetic beams. They disperse when they hit you, but they don't, yeah, they just seem to be impact. They don't seem to be actual, like, you know, any slashing or piercing going on. They don't seem to have any heat to them. He can also surround you with a field of them and, you know, fire them at you. He's able to create, you know, light barriers that can, like, energy-based barriers that can reflect attacks and even shoot beams from them. He's able to, shit, he had more things. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and then he's able to also kind of create his own kind of world inside of the darkness where he can, you know, where he can kind of manipulate everything. He can, you know, throw buildings at you, tear up roads, and, you know, he can take the ground out from under you. So, you know, it's this kind of environment that he has complete control of. So, I know it was a very basic explanation of it, but, you know, it's kind of how it goes. Oh, yeah, and important to this fight, he's shown some other abilities, like he's shown to be able to copy the abilities of other Organization 13 members. I think that was a specific I mean, if he can do that, that gives him an incredible, you know, array of powers as well. And he's also been shown to be able to clone himself, which is important in this fight. So, going into Pain versus Xemnas, so Pain seems to have mostly abilities that either are meant for one-on-one opponents, meant for groups of people, or meant to affect the environment that he's in, which kind of bleeds into like a groups of people, crowd control kind of. Right? Xemnas primarily has abilities that manipulate the environment or, again, are meant for, you know, individual one-on-one fights. Xemnas can't really, like, shoot giant blasts of energies that are meant to take out groups of people. I mean, neither can Pain, but Pain has things more comparable to that. So, this fight is a one-on-one fight, but at the same time it's not, because with Xemnas being able to clone himself and copy powers from other people, such as, you know, the other Organization 13 members, you know, we've seen, you know, Pain having all these different diverse elements makes this fight kind of tricky. However, the key is, whereas Xemnas has used these powers on different instances and doesn't seem to be capable of using his powers to what they appear to be. Like, for instance, he's able to, you know, create this giant field of ethereal blades around you and fire them at you, but he only seems to be able to do them one at a time. We've never seen him able to just make them all converge on you, and also, they don't seem incredibly fast. I mean, Sora and Riku were able to deflect all of them, and Axel was only able to Axel was able to get hit by them, but that was because he was like already physically weakened and had been beaten. So, like, they're not as fast as you would think. Now, don't get me wrong, Xemnas was a terrible boss fight. Like, he was, like, really hard. He was, like, exceedingly hard compared to a lot of the other ones. Especially in 3, no spoilers, but especially in 3 when it's, you know, 3 of them. No spoilers precedes the spoiler. So, but, you know, Pain has, again, shared sight, and he has all these different abilities, and can resurrect these, you know, anything that dies, any of his paths that die. So it really comes down to, like, and it really, lack of knowledge is what determines this fight, because not only does Pain have the ability to read minds, right, so he would be able to know what he needs to know about Ansem's powers, Ansem wouldn't know to go after, the resurrection path. He wouldn't know to go after that unless he sees it in action. And then he still has to fight through everything else. Also, he probably wouldn't know exactly. It even took Jiraiya, a little bit to figure out, how are these guys dodging all of my attacks while I'm sneaking up behind them. It's like they can see me. So Xemnas probably wouldn't know that right off the bat. And then you've got kind of some, perfect counters to the, Xemnas can throw buildings and shit, but, Almighty Push pretty much takes care of that. Even in that separate dimension where he has, control over everything, I would imagine something like Planetary Devastation, because all of these buildings, Xemnas is essentially just creating them, but Planetary Devastation would pretty much be absorbing everything at the rate that he can create them, so... And like I said, if Sora and Riku can dodge all those ethereal blades, or deflect them, I don't think Pain, 6 Pains with shared sight would have any trouble, dodging them. So, yeah, I mean, and also, we know from multiple different lines of dialogue and from events that I'm not gonna give context for because it's Kingdom Hearts, and that would be a 3-hour video, that, Xemnas, despite being a Heartless, does actually have a soul. So, right there, stealing his soul. He can't absorb his chakra, but Pain would be able to steal his soul. And there's also the King of Hell. Now, if he gets caught by that, and he lies, there goes his soul, So it's I feel like Pain is well-equipped to deal with Xemnas, and just, not like it's a direct counter or anything, but he does have the tools necessary to deal with Xemnas, and with somebody like Xemnas, just because of the variety of his arsenal. And also, I feel Xemnas doesn't have any real, defenses against something like Pain. So, yeah, I got a lot of Naruto fights lined up. I think it's because Sasuke Hiei hype really got me. Anyway, yeah, so this fight's been a while for me to do. I haven't been really doing many videos, but this one, getting